Hello, welcome to Building a Business podcast. This is a show where we embark on an adventure with entrepreneurs across various industries, picking their brains and hearts on what it's like starting, building, maintaining, and growing a small business. Building a Business podcast is brought to you by Virtual Fellows Marketing, rehumanizing your marketing experience. My name is Sean. This week we have with us Raymond from AFA, Athletes for Athletes. Before I tell you guys more about what this company is about, I think I'll just pass it over to Raymond, who's able to better explain this thing. Hi, Raymond.
Hi, Sean. All right, so how it started. Personally, I have been in sports industry for over 6 years. Started off from sports event organizers, all the way to having experience in managing a sports complex myself, which I consider myself really, really fortunate. So the idea of AFA or Athletes for Athletes, actually, how do I put this? We started off with the idea that we wanted to have a singular platform that enables sports enthusiasts like ourselves to have the quickest way to book sports venues. So if you're an active player of like badminton, futsal, or basketball, or any sports at all, at a certain point of time, you will definitely have like encountered the frustration experience of trying to call up different venues, trying to just get a court to play, especially those prime time, which usually after working hours during weekdays. So as a sports enthusiast, it has been something that happened ever too frequently, even to our own customers prior to our management as well, which among me and my friends, whenever we wanted to play sports and having the struggle, that's when the idea strikes us. So we found that we needed a platform actually to serve people like us. We love sports and many people do, and we actually constantly looking out for venues, just go and play, and even sometimes even picking up new sports. So that's where the idea of AFA started. Yeah.
So how does this service work? Is there an app or from the customer's perspective?
Yes. So the idea actually, we started off with an application interface. So it works like this. We have like two sets of application. One is designed for sports venue owners to manage their bookings and their booking scheduler, even their staff access level and everything. And on the other hand, we have a user app that enables users to just look into the nearest venue or the specific spots that they're looking for, and then they can just proceed to booking. Yeah.
Okay. So this is essentially an app that is disrupting the status quo, if I may. Like,
in a way, yes. In fact, we are not the first people or the startup that actually attempted this approach to come up with a solution like this. But it have been like, I believe like we came in about the right time, because previously when people are not so comfortable, especially in Malaysia, people are not so comfortable with like online payments, with the current trend that e-wallet has been around, and thanks to the e-wallet war, they have been encouraging a lot of users to pick up e-wallets. So that actually, we found out like it was a trend. So we came in the right time, and then we introduced this platform. That's when people really started picking up. And also, what sets our initiative apart from how many people started and failed is probably because of the background that we have as a sports complex management. So we understand like what the management really wants, and then we actually cater our solution, prioritizing the vendors or the sports complex management first to understand what they actually need as a foundation. Then only we start approaching the users.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ultimately, there are two parts to this application or the service you have, right? One is essentially a customer relationship management or like a booking system for the vendors or the sports centers to use to manage and do booking and everything, live booking and all that. And on the other end, you have for the customers to be able to look around and see what spots you have, what courts you have, to make the booking at the right places, which is more convenient for them.
Yep.
how do you see you set yourself apart from the competitors at this point?
Actually, that's a really good question. Actually, in fact, this has been a question that we have been asking ourselves a lot. And we understand that as much as we would like to consider ourselves as a tech company, a startup that goes in line with technology, there's this part of our company DNA that we emphasize a lot, which is the personal touch. We actually do a lot of groundwork. We do a lot of emphasis on guiding the transition for all the vendors and users, guiding them through on how to adapt into our system. Because a lot of these sports complex management, they are not necessarily millennials like us. They probably belongs to people who are of older age, and then for them to adapt into our management, it will take time to adapt. And what we realize, like the problem in the industry is that people really need guidance and really need spoon feeding. We try to spoon feed our customers and serve them right, and I believe this is really requires a lot of effort and consistency when it comes to this kind of management. And that is probably one thing that we realize, like really have proven that is a success pathway for us. Yeah.
All right. Actually, to be honest, when you look at this point, right, the fact that you are still at the stage where you're educating your customers on how to use this or the validity of this platform versus their traditional methods means that the market is still very early. It also means that your competitors have not reached enough scale that everybody knows how it works, and they are just choosing which is best for them.
Yes.
They are still trying to figure out whether their traditional method is better or your new method is better. So at this point, you are kind of like educating, the stage of educating people as to why does it make more sense moving forward to use your platform versus the older one, right? Okay. Let's talk about the name of your company. How did it come about and what does it represent?
So AFA actually stands for Athletes for Athletes. We came up with this name is because we wanted a name that can easily register into people with the abbreviation AFA. At the same time, it has to be something that reminds us and the people we're serving why we started AFA. We believe everyone is an athlete, and we basically we are our biggest prospect. We are the athletes ourselves, and we build a solution that serves people like us. And we believe like we belongs to the community of people that is the biggest beneficiary of our solution. Yeah. So that's how the idea of AFA comes up. Yeah.
Okay. Let's move ahead to what is this called? To your product itself. How long has it been since this thing has gone forward, and at which stage are you at in terms of your startup, in terms of like scalability or how many customers you have?
Okay, so the idea of AFA actually started brewing since 2019 August. Yeah, it was about like it has been about like 1.5 years ago, and it started with an idea that and then we started writing down in paper. And fast forward a little bit, we launched our beta at around September 2020, and in Klang Valley. And today we have about 47 venues using AFA. So with about close to 3,000 users at the moment.
Okay.
Our plan moving forward is actually to expand as quickly as possible into different parts of Malaysia, introducing our system to the sports communities, because we do realize like a lot of sports or tech startup like us usually tends to decrease in terms of their momentum, especially when they're stuck in one place. So our intention is actually to explore different states within our capability and see how different states are actually adapting into this system, because every place actually people play sports, and there are sports complexes in every part of Malaysia. So it's
Yeah.
pretty easy for us to like actually just go in and speak to the people and then try to introduce our system. And yeah, we're not going to limit ourselves just in Client Valley. Yeah.
Okay. There's actually a very now that you mentioned this, right, there's actually a very, very good statement from the founder of HubSpot. He says that every company goes through has three greatest fears. One is the fear of extinction, another one is the fear of stagnation, and the third one is the fear of complexity. So when you start off a company, you're always fearing extinction, right? Because you cannot make money enough. You don't know whether it's going to last the next 6 months or something like that, right? Then you reach a point where you stagnate. You're like the living dead. You operate as per usual, but you cannot grow. You cannot evolve into something bigger. You cannot scale. And then the third part is when once you start to scale, you will reach a problem where you have complexity, where you have systems upon systems, and people, it's so difficult to make decisions on things because there's so many layers of everything going on. So I guess where you are at now, which is a good thing, which is at stagnation, right? Maybe you find that you are already at a scale which you think that it's okay, you can run, but in order to move forward, you need to break the stagnation cycle.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. In fact, we started to feel a little bit of stagnation. At the same time, the complexity also started to build up a little bit. So I think, yeah, we are kind of like, I think it is a very, very valid point that it's been what we are trying to, it's been the problems, the kind of problems that we take it positively and we try to solve them every day. Yeah. So it's definitely a struggle, I believe, not just to us, and there are a lot of our startups today actually have been struggling with this kind of problems that
Yes, it sometimes when you don't mix around with other startup founders, you feel as if you're the only one going through this thing. And then when you compare notes, yeah, right. And then when you compare notes, you realize, hey, I'm going through the same thing as these guys are going through. And sometimes because they're further along in the path, right, they can give you advice on how to, what to do and how to do things. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. How many people are in your founding team, and what do they do?
So I started off with 4 person, including myself. So each of us knew each other because of the sports we play. So we are active badminton player, and occasionally we play basketball as well. So it have myself, our COO Edwin, and then we have Yusen, our marketing and design, and we have Kevin, who is in charge in our business development and growth strategy. So Edwin basically takes charge of our business operation, ensuring the company functions the way it should be on a daily basis, while Yusen is in charge of our marketing plans and content design, while Kevin is leading mainly for our sales acquisition of vendors, developing business plans. Meanwhile, I would say myself as a dreamer most of the time. They're constantly just dreaming about what can our company do, how can our startup grow, sustain, and position ourselves differently. So I guess our team is like pretty dynamic in a way. Yeah. To get started off.
Yeah, it's nice as well. Sometimes you need people who can think differently than you in order to cover the areas where you cannot think of or do things that you cannot do. Yeah. And in terms of funding, how did this start off? Did you get external funding or was it fully internal?
Well, the biggest problem for when we first started was definitely funding. So we need to tell people about our idea and try to convince them that it's an idea that is worth investing without any proof of concept. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of similar startup actually died off pretty early in their stage. Like some that are surviving, they spend about 2 years to just get about 10 venues to sign with them. That is the current struggle. So we were having trouble in convincing that our method works. So and actually I remember someone even told us like we know that there's a small pothole on the road. As a regular user of the road, we may complain, but we just get used to it eventually. So they're just trying to say like your problem is not big enough, worth fixing. So it was our initial struggle. And this has so we were fortunate enough that some of our friends and family were the FNF lah, basically just give us the basic funding for us to start off with. And then until we managed to build a little bit, and we were fortunate that actually the National Sports Institute, when we pitched this idea to them, they're willing to support us with a grant that at least help us to kickstart with our technical development and do the initial commercialization of our products. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's good. And from there, I see that you are well versed with keywords and you know what market trends are. You know how to use the right words at the right place. That means that you have been to places and you have met with quite a lot of people. Do you often go for pitch competitions, and do you meet up with founders, or are you with
Yes.
groups?
Yes, we try a lot. Trust me, a lot of this pitching and trying to share our ideas to like even some accelerator programs, some pitching competition. Nothing of our luck yet. We're still trying because we believe like as we build up our traction, one day we'll just convince people that this is actually a workable idea. So yeah, actually a lot of the pitching experience and even like the elevator pitch, like all these ideas like help us to give the quicker summary to help people to understand what our product is doing, and then to just get them on track into like what to get them to catch up with our progress from the start until where we are at the moment. All of this experience actually comes from how active we were like in joining all of this all of this competition, and definitely we learned a lot, and met a lot of different people as well.
Are you still actively joining pitch competitions or going for pitches?
We are slowing down at the moment because we are in the phase, I believe we are at a phase where we are trying to just show more tractions right now, just to prove more statistically how our app is gonna work, the proof of concept. So at the moment we are in a few projects that we are trying to get our hands on and trying to leverage on those to build up our tractions first before we go for another round of like this kind of pitching and trying to go another round of fundraising. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good because I remember, I think Mark Andreessen said from Andreessen Horowitz, he said, I heard it in a podcast somewhere before. He says that when it comes to your initial pitch, your Series A funding, all you need to do is get that one. Because once you get that one, it will start to snowball, right? Then you have the attention of other venture capitalists and all this already. So it's okay to just keep hitting and missing. All you need is that one.
Well, we are trying to keep ourselves optimistic that way. We are hoping like actually we have been just sharing among ourselves like it's good that no one is believing in our idea at the moment and no one is like rushing in to invest into us, because it simply just shows that we still need to work a lot more and to prove ourselves before, like what you say, we just need one right person to invest. And that's where
when the one comes in and you're there already. It's a very optimistic thing. So let's move on to the final topic of today. Then we can continue on next week. Final topic of today is what would you say is your most noteworthy struggle in the first phase of starting up the company, at least up till this point, or maybe just in the beginning?
Well, I would say the biggest challenge as we go along is we went through several phases of what do you call it, like fatigues, or say psychological fatigues, because at first it was about the validation. We're trying to get our first round of investment to get everything kicked off, and we were working on the ideation phase for about like 4 to 6 months, I remember, and then we were like just talking about it and putting everything down in a paper, and we can't move forward. That's when our first layer of fatigues comes in, and then we're like, are we doing it right, and then having to go through this over and over again throughout even a short period of like 1.5 years. It's something like that. I think as a team we need to everyone deserves their own phase of fatigues, and then we need to be sure like we are there to like just emotionally supporting each other to make sure we go get through, you know, that phase. I think it's the psychological struggle that most entrepreneurs I think is facing. I think this is the thing that we have to go through.
It's very scary when you are on this and then you ask yourself the question like, is this even going to work or not?
Yes,
like,
exactly. Like, are we doing
that weird crazy guy, the only person who's believing on this thing and nobody else thinks that it's ever going to work, kind of thing?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we are facing. Yeah.
Okay, so can you say that at this point now you are better at managing it, or you have gone through the phase, or you're past it, or you're still in there, or where are you with this?
I think we are still at the learning phase. Of course, looking back at where we are, even in a short period of 1.5 years, I think we have grew a lot. Our mentality and how we position ourselves have been evolving over and over again. Even today and tomorrow will be different. So I think the key word here I would say is to remain versatile as a team, and also as a startup, and also as an individual that embark in this journey. It's always about staying versatile, and we are not going to know what's going to happen next, but all about like staying true to your goal.
You have to, like, it's like sometimes being nimble and not being too rigid as to where you want to go.
Yes.
And there is a sense of maturity that you grow, right? Like your first time you hit this thing, you get all panicky and everything, and after a few times like, I've done this before, you know, I've done it before. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Couldn't agree more.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us. This is I think we've hit the time spent for the first episode of our interview with Raymond from AFA, or
Thank you
AFA,
so much for having me.
Athlete for Athlete. And before we leave, can you tell our listeners where we can find out more about you, your products, or your service, and where we can probably sample your service or anything?
You can always go on to our Facebook and Instagram. We are available in this tool, and you can even find us in our website, athleteforathletes.com. So you can always look us up there, and you can download the app straight from the link available. Just give it a try, and we'll love to hear your feedback.
All right. So at this point, we are still at MCO 2.0. So, but we don't know if it's going to be released or slackened down in a point that we can go to do some sports again. If in any case, by the time this podcast goes out, or when you're listening to this, you can already go to sports centers. Do check out the app, download the app, Athletes for Athletes, or AFA, from the App Store and the Google Play Store, and then book your next either futsal, basketball, or badminton.
We have a lot of sports available. Even archery, dance studios, all is available.
Nice. Okay. So try it out and let us know what you think. And if there's any feedback, you can pass on to us, and we can pass over to Raymond to see if there's any improvement that can be done. Any feedback is good, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much. So that's all for this week's episode of Building a Business Podcast. Next week, we will be interviewing a new founder, Diana from Swag Sarang Holidays, providing a wow factor and honest and halal travel solutions. If you're interested, hang in there. Right, that's all for Building a Business Podcast this week. Our podcast is available on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Breaker, and Spotify. We post full videos on YouTube and clips on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Thank you very much, Raymond, and thanks everyone.
Thank you. See you.
Yeah.